Aloha and welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure coming to you from Waikiki Beach. It's a beautiful day here in paradise. We're right next to St. Augustine's Catholic Church by the sea and looking out still at the last of the whales coming through Oahu. We got a really cool guest, our returning guest. My friend Brad Rushmore is here in the house with us. We're going to talk about bull riding, bronc riding, firefighting, and really just about how God can direct our lives, how God leads us through the desires that he gives us. We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick adventure.
Welcome to the Bear Woznick adventure. Kickstart that engine and roll thunder with the pack. Explore the grittiness of manly spirituality. Gain traction in the virtues. Soup up your spiritual engine by turning adversity into adventure. Now here's Bear Woznick. Let's ride.
Aloha, welcome back to the Bear Woznick adventure. I have a new book coming out. I know my book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? It's been really selling very well. It's been in the top five books for men on Amazon, for Christian men, I should say. And I have a cowboy on the show today. I love cowboys. The only problem with cowboys is they're really hard to get them to talk about themselves. You know, they'll talk about the Lord, but they're just, you gotta just almost pull their teeth to get them to talk because they've taught to be humble and not talk about themselves. But this is a show where we want to talk story. We want to know people's journey. We have Brad Rushmore with us, who is the ramrod for our School of Manliness. He heads up the School of Manliness for us at our website. Before we do that, I'm going to introduce. I have another book coming out. It's called Men of Grit and Grace, subtitled Daily Challenges for Men to Chew On. And it's basically just beef jerky for a man's soul. It has quotes from early church fathers, from the Bible, from C.S. Lewis, the great Western novelist, just a variety of different people. So it's just enough to get man a chance to start moving during his morning prayer time. So I'm going to read one for you from the book. There's 366 of them. This is a quote from G.K. Chesterton. Every man who knocks on the door of a brothel is looking for God. That's from his book written in 1908, Orthodoxy, G.K. Chesterton. He's the one that coined the phrase, God's order lets good things run wild. Anyone is looking to try to, I'm just going to say this before I read my meditation. What you look for, what you seek to fill that emptiness in you is your God. But that emptiness can only be filled. It's an infinite chasm. So don't try to fill it with pleasure or sex or making a lot of money or fame or glory or anything like that. It's like dropping a drop in the Grand Canyon. It's not going to be filled because this place in you is this incredible capacity God's given you to have him dwell in you. And so only God can fill that void. But anyone who's knocking on the door of a brothel is trying to fill a hole in their heart. And that's what G.K. Chesterton was talking about. So let me read my little man meditation so you can chew on it. As usual, G.K. makes his point by flipping everything upside down in order to put everything right side up. Do you see that the drivenness and pursuit of our passions is our heart seeking to fill a holiness so big and infinite that only an infinite God can fill and fulfill it? Think of your passions, your appetites, and your desires as your powerful horse, which you as a rider must guide, rein in, and then at the right time and place, release it in its full power. Like a mighty war horse, our passions run best and fulfill their purpose, and so fulfill us best when they are bridled, reined in, and then released, guided, and directed by a man whose soul's primary desire is to delight in the will and the presence of God. In that way, passions become godly desires that are expressed in ultimate goodness. G.K. Chesterton wrote in Orthodoxy, chapter 6, the more I considered Christianity, the more I found that while it had an established rule and order, the chief aim of that order was to give room for good things to run wild. When I read a book about the legendary racehorse Man of War, I was shocked. This is when I was a kid, maybe seventh or eighth grade. I was shocked that the rider did not just make him run as fast as he could all the way, all the time. He would hold him back and then at the right moment spur him on to victory. In the same way, we must master our appetites and passions. We need to bridle them and guide them to pursue and to be released according to God's order and will so they can have their ultimate expression and purpose fulfilled. And my wife is the one who told me to end every chapter with the words chew on it because she's a cowgirl. And I like to say it's this book is beef jerky for the soul. I don't want to say it's chewing tobacco because no one likes that, we got with us today a real man after God's own heart, Brad Rushmore. Welcome to the show, Brad.
Thanks for having me again. Thank you.
Hey, so you're wearing your black, is that a Stetson? You're wearing your black cowboy hat today.
Yeah, this was a gift from my brother-in-law, so I like this. This is my new favorite hat. I got a few hats, and this is my favorite right now.
So when you get that hat, do you take it someplace to have it formed and shaped just the way you want it?
This hat, I don't know. My brother-in-law had it done for me, so but none of my
Yeah.
hats are shaped, so yeah.
So you're the bad guy now? You're wearing a black hat?
Well, it's winter. You got to wear a felt hat in the winter, so
Is
it's
that the rules? Is that the rules? Like you wear that straw type? What is that straw type of hat people men
yeah. It's
cowboys wear?
just the straw hat's for summer and felt is for winter. Yeah.
So you just like the girls who say, "Well, I can't wear white until May or something like that." Is that how cowboys are?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. Anything about boots, like cowboy boots are just, heels for guys. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of strange.
You know, my wife is such a cowgirl, and when I first met her, she bought me a really nice Stetson cowboy hat. And I'm a surfer and I live in Florida. I mean, Florida. I live in Waikiki on the beach. I walk in the sand. I used to have a Garmin watch. This is 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And I'd always walk 50 miles every week in the sand. And you know what it does to your feet? It flattens them out. So she bought me this beautiful cowboy hat. And then we went to Houston, Texas to a football game. And I said, we're going to go find me some cowboy boots because every guy wants to be a cowboy. We went to the big cowboy boot store there. They didn't have any size that would fit me. They would have to have I mean, not, the width of them, the flat footedness and all that. They would have to make them custom. But she got me a cowboy hat at least. And I said, I want to write my Western novel someday. And she goes, yeah, but you're not a cowboy.
Yeah.
And it really hurts me. It really hurts me right down in my cowboy heart. So how'd you do last week in the weekend in the rodeo?
I mean, I did fine. Rode, well, there was a rodeo at one, and then I have a buddy. He's 19, but just got him into riding, so we're teaching him the ropes of bull riding. So
Okay,
that's
so
what's yeah,
teach me the ropes of bull riding.
teach
If
you the
I came
ropes.
out there, what would you what would you tell me I need to what are my rule what well, if I teach people you kind of really got into surfing since you came out here, right? So
Oh yeah,
now
I've been
your
surfing
turn now
ever
if
since.
I'm
Yeah.
coming out there and I'm gonna learn how to bull ride, what lessons would you tell me, teach me?
Uh, I suppose don't get in your head too much.
Oh.
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of adrenaline, a lot of worrying in the sport, but I think the best thing somebody ever told me, and it's so stupid, I never thought about this, and it's so simple. Somebody said, just have fun, because you get
Mm-hmm.
into it and you forget I'm doing this for me, I'm not doing this for anybody else, but I always remember that. Just have fun, because you can forget that you're doing this because you actually enjoy it sometimes.
Well, I know when I my first surf contest I surfed in, this guy I asked him, he's like a hero to me, and he goes, I go, what should I do? What should I do? He goes, don't fall. Just
Yeah.
don't fall. And because when you're learning to and I teach people that too, when you're learning to surf, just don't fall. If you think you're going to fall, don't fall. The board doesn't want you to fall. The wave doesn't want you to fall. Just hang in there and ride through the problem. And I guess that's a really good lesson in bull riding and bronc riding, right? Just don't. If you think you see people going to fall, then they just kind of let themselves get bucked off, right? But you
Yeah, I
find,
mean, yeah, your hand opens up and then you're on the ground next second.
yeah, but
Lessons.
So how did the rides go this weekend? I know you didn't make the 8 seconds, but you
No,
had some
but
rewrites, right?
yeah, th well, the bronc ride, and that was the first time I've ever done that.
Mm,
That was and it was so much different, but it was ranch bronc. So there's four rough stock events in a rodeo. With horses, there's three. There's saddle bronc, there's ranch bronc, and then there's bareback horse. But I did the ranch bronc, which is like it's a pretty rare event, but it's where you can use
mm,
two hands, and it's more of
mm.
to like simulate actually breaking a horse. You
Oh
don't see it
yeah.
as often. So
I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, you like tape a dog collar to your saddle and you use the rein and the dog collar and you're trying to stay on.
Oh, oh, so
Yeah.
so the dog collar helps you hang on to the what do you call it? The hand.
Yeah, because it's right by the horn right there, so
Yeah,
you're
so you better
holding
right
on.
there.
Yeah.
We're talking
But
to
that
Brad
was
Rushmore. Oh, we got to take a break. We're talking to Brad Rushmore, who is the ramrod for the School of Manliness. We're going to talk a little bit more about our website, schoolofmanliness.com. We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick adventure. Schoolofmanliness.com is a place for men of grit and grace to join together to inspire, to encourage, and to challenge each other to grow in manly virtue. Members receive morning man meditations, a monthly curriculum that is rich with audio, video, and written content, and a trail guide to help you map out your new trajectory. Many of our members lead their sons through this same curriculum. Your membership gives you access to both the Man Cave, which is our non-Facebook type community, and the School of Manliness at schoolofmanliness.com. Become a member at schoolofmanliness.com. Deep Adventure Ministries is grateful to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for underwriting the Bear Woznick adventure on EWTN. Notre Dame Federal Credit Union provides car loans, mortgages, SBA loans, and depository accounts nationwide, as well as 24-hour support. Go to deepadventure.com to find their link, or go to NotreDameFCU.com. Mahalo to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for making the Bear Woznick adventure possible. My newest book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone?, has hit the top 5 in Christian books for a good reason. It's because men are searching for traction and a trail guide to live out the unique calling and the gifts that they were born with, that each man individually is factory loaded with by God. Paul said, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, do all things in love." Finally, here is a book that talks with men the way men talk with each other. Just plain old straight shoot. By the way, Mama Bears, this is your chance to get this message to your men. Go to schoolofmanliness.com or anywhere books are sold. 12 Rules for Manliness. Where have all the cowboys gone?
This is a warning. The Bear Woznick adventure is dangerous. The radical change Bear challenges you to is not for wimps. Change this station now to a soft rock station before it's too late. You've been warned. Now, here is Bear Woznick.
Aloha, welcome back to the Bear Woznick adventure. You know, we call it the Bear Woznick adventure because all of us are on an adventure. You know, I remember there's that scene in The Hobbit. I forget the character's name, but the main character, is off on I guess going to go find that ring. And he starts it off by saying, "I wonder what kind of adventure this is going to be." And that's kind of really our lives. We should always, my wife, I pray for her, you know, in the mornings, I pray for her when we have breakfast, and I always finish it with saying, may her wildest dreams come true. Why not believe that God has an adventure for you? And an adventure, you know, usually mean things went wrong. You know, it's not really an adventure until things get a little bit hard. And life is like that. I don't, you know, I can look at because I have a radio show, I interview a lot of people, and then I also am very become very curious and ask people a lot of questions. It turns out even that sweet little lady has been through an adventure in her life. You know, the ones that get to mass early and are praying, they're there early praying because there's people in her heart that she's praying for. Everyone has had some difficulty and had some hardship. Everybody's had to ride a bull and get bucked off, as my guest Brad Rushmore has. But we should all realize that all the breaking that happens when we get bucked off is just the Lord's humbling us and getting rid of the impurities and things that get in the way between us and Him, and ultimately, just pursuing His purpose for our lives. We got Brad Rushmore. He's the ramrod. We never knew what to call the guy that was leading the man cave, but when finally we got Brad to do this, to head the School of Manliness, we go, let's give him the name Ramrod because, hey, what is a ramrod? You're a cowboy. What is a ramrod?
Well, that's on those big ranches, the guy who's kind of like the foreman. It's an older term for sure, but they're the guy in charge of all the hands, all the ranch hands.
Don't they also call him the boss, or is that someone higher up than the ramrod?
I suppose anybody under him would just call him boss, yeah.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. But I mean, the term is, I think, just such a manly term, you know. Okay, so you're going to teach me so teach me what you've learned about life in
Mhm.
riding bulls and riding broncs.
But you can't give up. Obviously, you know my accident back in May where, broke my back, and I thought my life was going to change drastically, and it did for that summer, but and I went back to bull riding in October, so it was like 6 months later. But I got back to it, and I think that was the biggest lesson was you get bucked off, you'll get hurt, but get back to going at life. You just obviously breaking your back and being paralyzed for a bit. You can't stop. No matter what happens, you got to keep going.
Keep going,
You got to keep going. Got to keep riding, I suppose is.
you got to get back on the horse, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, I was out surfing to get today. I had 50 days, as you know. I had surgery and then had infection from the surgery. But I was out stand-up paddling today for the first stand-up paddle surfing, which is a little bit trying on the can be really tough on your body when you're riding big waves and you wipe out and you got a paddle in your hand and everything else. But I was thinking, so this is my first time in 50 days to even be in the ocean and then to be stand-up paddling, there's no waves. But I was thinking, I love the ocean and I love surfing here. But Brad, I had Brad Rushmore. We're talking with. He's the ramrod for School of Manliness, and he's currently in the university at William and Mary out on the East Coast. But you know what? I realized right there, I was dropping in on a fairly good sized wave, not too big, in my outrigger canoe, and I hoolied it. I flipped it, and I tore this hip muscle loose. And then I'm over here dropping in on a wave, and I'm having to really crank the turn with my stand-up paddle, and I tore the bicep loose. And I'm going, I really love this. It didn't matter to me for a second. All I wanted to do was get this thing fixed, get it rehabbed, and let me get back out in the ocean, right? That's same sort of thing. And surfers, if we ride on a lot of places, if you ride away for 14, 15 seconds, that's called a long ride. That's a long ride. Here in Hawaii, we can ride for a minute or more on the waves, but it's same with you. You want to get to that 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 seconds, and that's all that matters. Anything over like 4 or 5 seconds, that's that's a good long ride right there. Anything above 5, 6, yeah.
It
But
seems like forever, doesn't it?
it really does, yeah. It really does. Time seems to slow down and nothing matters but you and that bull, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a second is an infinite amount of time.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like doing the plank or, doing a plank workout, just lasts forever.
And I had a friend come out here from France. He was filming a show, really great filmmaker, and he was filming us surfers, and he was asking us questions about what he called the still point. That was the name of the film. This is back in the day. It made it to some of the cool French film festivals, I guess. But he was asking people, what is the still point? And for me, I said it's God is He didn't have an understanding of God. And I said, it's God. God's name is Yahweh. I am who am, I am that I am. And it's that still point when you're one with God, time stands still. And it's like that when when you're totally involved in that moment on that bowl,
Yeah.
it's like there isn't a before and an after. There's just that moment.
Yeah. I suppose that's how it should be in prayer too.
Hmm.
When we're there, we should just be focusing on talking to God. I know a lot of times, especially when I'm praying, my mind starts to wander on, whatever you have going on in the day. But it should just be you and the bowl, or obviously you and God in prayer. So that's it.
You never think about bills you got to pay when you're on a bowl, right?
No, no, especially not the
Yeah.
rodeo. Just thinking, yeah. And I think the rodeo, because boxing for a few years and obviously getting into other sports, playing football back in school, I think bull riding's the like last gladiator type sport. You know, boxing and combative sports, sure, you're fighting someone, but that person doesn't want to kill you. That bull will try and kill you. I mean, they'll try. They'll try. I don't know if it wants to, but
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, that's why I said like surfing big waves. Like my son has surfed 85-foot waves. I used to think I surfed big waves and then see what he's riding, but it's also similar because it's a wild beast that the wave. It's not like going down a ski hill because it's the mountain isn't moving.
yeah,
The wave can do unpredictable things, and suddenly once you drop into a big wave, you've abandoned yourself to that wave. Once that you give a nod to the guy and say, "Open the chute," right?
yeah, yeah. It's it.
Once,
There's people. There's always a lot of people in the chute around you. The guy that's spotting you, the guy that's holding the rope for you, um, or holding you. And then there's always the people outside, like the bullfighters and the guy that's about to open the gate too. And everybody's staring at you. Obviously, the people in the crowd too, but everybody's staring at you, waiting for you to go, waiting for that head nod. Once the head nod, it's game time. It's game time.
yeah, and think about that too. Is when you're surfers, there's a saying you're always alone in big waves because the wave will separate you from anybody being able to help you, in big
Yeah,
surf. But when you're in that chute, you've got everybody in there is cheering for you.
yeah,
And then if you get bucked off, you got men to help you, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those bullfighters they're good men. They really do get in there and they'll protect you. They'll take hits just so you don't get hit. So they're always
Yeah.
good. You know.
And so what does that teach you about how do we apply that to brotherhood? Like you want to have brothers that'll encourage you, but also brothers that'll be there when you get bucked off.
Yeah, you need to be the brother when somebody needs your help. I've seen like sometimes where the rider's in a pretty bad situation and people behind the chutes will jump in too. If like the bullfighters obviously they're doing a good job, but I've seen where people from behind the chutes jump in too to help. All those guys,
Man.
even though we're competing against each other, all those riders,
Yeah.
there's a brotherhood there. Sure, like we all want that paycheck and we're fighting each other for that paycheck, but we're brothers. That anybody
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
sport, that's more important than
Yeah.
the paycheck.
Yeah. And think about like in the school of manliness in the man cave. Uh, we do foolish things, we do dumb things. Sometimes men do and paint ourselves into a corner, but the men there aren't judging. They're saying, okay, now there's people jumping. I've been there before, and praying for each other. Um, it's important, I think, in the man cave where people are getting gritty and real with each other
Yeah, that's
and
all right.
realize we've all been bucked off before. We've all made bad choices, not as bad as the choices you may have made, wanting to go and get on a bull and ride it. I'm
Yeah.
talking about Brad Rushmore. He's the ramrod for the School of Manliness, and which is our man cave, our non-Facebook community of men, and then also we have a school. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick adventure. People love our EWTN TV show, Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick. Thanks to you, the show has won 4 different Tally Awards. And now, instead of waiting each week for the next episode to air, you can actually binge watch our show and even share it with your friends when you go to deepadventure.com and join the Mama Bears or the Man Cave. Along with all the other benefits, you get total access to all the seasons of our aired episodes, plus instant access to episodes that won't even air for several months. Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick, a great way to communicate the gospel in a gritty enough way that even tough men will stop and watch at deepadventure.com. Here is a YouTube video short, which is based on an excerpt from my newest book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? Soft times make for soft men. Soft men make for hard times. Hard times make for hard men. Hard men make for soft times. I would say that we are at that stage where soft men are making for hard times. The sooner hard men step up, the better. I suggest that you pull your hat down and get ready for some bucking as this world gets more ornery than a bronc with a thorn under its saddle.
Be the kind of man that when he gets out of bed in the morning, the devil says, "Oh no, he's up." Go to deepadventure.com and invite Bear to speak.
Aloha, welcome back to the Bear Woznick Adventure. You know, we have actually it was the guys from Adam Minahan and David Niles out, I think they're in Kansas area, who inspired me to do my own man cave. They have a really cool group called the Council of Men, which you guys should look into. There were a couple of buddies that one night at 10:30, someone called them and said, "Hey, you want to buy a radio station?" And they said, "You have to tell us by midnight." And by midnight, they'd bought a radio station, and they can made that into the Catholic radio station in their area. Love those two guys, and they're great, great, great friends. But they have a council of men, and so it inspired me to start my school of manliness. That's why I love the men that are involved in the men's movement in the Catholic churches. Just like Brad says, we're all there for each other. We all know that every one of us is usually doing this way beyond, it more than fills up our day because we're usually supporting ourselves financially and our families, and then doing the ministry. And so we're all really for each other and support each other. But hey, Brad, try to explain to Brad Rushmore's with us, bullfighter, bull rider, bronc rider, firefighter, and he's a former military in the Army, handling these big drones, and now he's at William and Mary College in on the East Coast. But tell us what it is about the man cave. Why does every man need to be part of a small group of men? Tell us about the man cave.
Well, men in general, people in general too, we just need community.
Mm,
In today's age, you don't see those community groups of like when you were growing up, you probably saw, I don't know, those like the Rotary clubs and whatnot, but social clubs don't really exist anymore. Especially not for men anymore either. And this is a great way for Catholics, especially since the Catholic Church is a huge part of the United States nowadays. We need it.
mm,
Men need to be part of that. And this is a good group because it's across the whole country. You could cross a country and probably like meet up with somebody from each state that like in the man
mm,
cave. It's such a
mm.
great opportunity. I think it's amazing.
And different ages. Don't you think it's good that there's young men involved in the man cave?
Absolutely. There's a lot of people with really good experience, like obviously Trace, like you just had on the
Yeah.
show. Um, Example, I just had a buddy from the army. He's trying to get into the oil fields, and I pointed him to Trace, and Trace gave him a good like talking to about the oil fields and gave him some good advice. And I think right there is a great use of the man cave. The older
Yeah.
guys helping out the young guys.
But the young guys put fire in our belly. We see the zeal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why do you think so many young men are being attracted to the Catholic Church?
Well, they want something real. I think especially today, young men are being told all these like, oh, you guys are they're being made out to look like the bad guys in today's society and oh, you're evil. stuff that happened hundreds of years ago, you yourself are responsible for. And young men are pretty mad about or getting upset with all this. And there's two ways I've seen young men go to. They go to like the Andrew Tate type stuff, or they go towards the Catholic Church. But men want to be men, as you say, and the
Mm.
Catholic Church gives them a perfect example. Jesus Christ, the perfect man to be. So
Mm. Yeah, a real man too. He's not the soft, nice Jesus, that people think, oh, I always say he'd be like at Starbucks, reading his latest poem, Why Can't We All Get Along?
yeah,
Jesus wasn't a nice guy. He was a good man. But what's the difference between those two?
I think the nice man doesn't have a backbone. He's the same one who can't put his foot down. Being a tough man means you got to make the tough decisions, and I think the nice guy can't make those tough decisions when things get hard. I think that's the big difference there.
And the thing is about like the cowboy code.
Mm.
A man should know what he's about.
Yeah,
And really the formation like with it, if you just read the catechism through every day, every day we send out an excerpt from the man to the men of the man cave every morning, and we're working them all the way through the whole catechism. But to be formed in your faith and to know what the seven virtues are, when it comes time to make a decision, it's kind of simple.
yeah,
You know what's right and what's wrong and why. It may not be easy, but it's kind of simple. Wisdom isn't conniving or clever. It's usually just quite simple. There's a,
yeah,
the young men, it seems they're really, well, what C.S. Lewis said here, he was such a, you know, I just love, I mean, not C.S. Lewis, it was G.K. Chesterton in his book, Orthodoxy. The more I considered Christianity, the more I found that while it had an established rule and order, the chief aim of that order was to give room for good things to run wild.
mm,
And I think that's what the young men want: rule and order. They want discipline. They want to have they want it to have a challenge.
absolutely. I think having no discipline where you can just run wild, sure, it's fun for a bit. Well, you think you enjoy it, but then it gets old real quick. It gets really old. You do need order, and I mean, just having a father figure, that's order
Mm,
right there.
mm. And like in the man cave, the younger men are learning about what it means to be a father. They here in Hawaii, Cindy just my wife just loves real men. She always goes, yeah, that guy's he's a real man. In Hawaii, it's different here because there's still a very Hawaiian, powerful Hawaiian, of course, Hawaiian influence, very powerful. And the waterman community, of course, is based on the whole Hawaiian culture. So if you're outrigger canoeing or surfing or fishing or spearfishing or sailing, there's a real brotherhood in the water. We might snake each other on a wave, but if someone's in trouble, we're going to help them.
Yeah.
We may paddle battle, I mean, but there's a real sense of uncling here too, where the older men, like when I walk down along the beach, the younger men go, "Hey, Uncle Bear," they say, "Hey, Uncle." And I think within the man cave there is that sense of kind of hearing what your dad said, but from other men.
Yeah.
You know, oh, there's
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, when you're growing up or whatever, you listen to your dad, but then you're like, oh, I don't want to do what my dad says, but there's gonna be another man who says the same exact thing, but okay, I'll do it the way he says, but it's the same thing, but I don't know. It just, I guess we're just prone to doing that as kids.
But also your dad affirmed you too.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
when an uncle does that, it's like, oh, someone else affirms me and sees that in me, that I'm a good man, and affirms sometimes in a man there's only a little bit here or there that you can affirm, but you affirm that, as
Yeah.
we need to affirm that in each other. We're talking with Brad Rushmore. He is tell us what it's the oldest college in America where you're
Yeah.
going.
Well, technically second, I suppose, but started in the late 1600s, 1693. But I suppose talking on humility, I think we brought that up before. Being 26 in college is a big humbling thing right there. I'll say that. Being the old guy in classes for sure.
Well, do you look at them and go, gosh, if you only knew what life was really all about? Do you, do you feel like
Sometimes.
you have a perspective on life that they don't have?
Yeah, because it's a lot of political classes, so obviously they're very heated towards one side, and it's interesting to see how these kids think and or what they'll yeah, it's pretty interesting for sure.
And you're at William and Mary. Is it college or university? I forget. It's William and Mary
It's a
College.
college, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
All that
school.
mean
Sure.
all that means is they don't have as big a library as a university or something. I don't know what the
Yeah,
rules are. Make the
yeah,
difference.
something.
We're talking with Brad Rushmore. He's the ramrod for the School of Manliness. Um, at the schoolofmanliness.com, men can join. There's a monthly fee. It helps support our ministries, not very much, but less than your Netflix for sure. But you become part of a non-Facebook community of men that we share there. Uh, through the day, different men will share things there, and then we have the School of Manliness, which Brad sends out to you every Saturday morning, the curriculum for that week. And you can take that curriculum and walk through that with your sons. So it's pretty cool. And then I love it that every morning you send out a slice of the catechism, Brad. And then on the like this, actually, right after the show, we're going to be having our Man Cave Zoom meetup, where the members of the Man Cave, and we just, have a shot of whiskey or cigar, and we talk story with each other for an hour once a month. And the idea is to is to form each other so that we can be more proactive right in our own home. Like many of the men have started their own men's groups within their church or gotten more involved in their church community and the way God's leading them. We're talking with Brad Rushmore, the Ramrod, for schoolofmanliness.com, and also bull rider, bronc. You haven't ridden the bronc yet to 8 seconds, so we're going to say bronc try harder rider. And
Sure.
he was a firefighter. That means he would jump into fires in Montana during the summers, and going to school at William and Mary. We're talking with Brad Rushmore. We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick adventure. Deep Adventure Ministries is grateful to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for underwriting the Bear Woznick adventure on EWTN. Notre Dame Federal Credit Union provides car loans, mortgages, SBA loans, and depository accounts nationwide, as well as 24-hour support. Go to deepadventure.com to find their link, or go to NotreDameFCU.com. Mahalo to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for making the Bear Woznick adventure possible. Here is a YouTube video short, which is based on an excerpt from my newest book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? Set a physical challenge for yourself. When is the last time you did that? Is your resting heart rate higher than room temperature or down in the 50s where it belongs? Or do you even know your resting heart rate? How about your endurance? How far can you walk? How far can you run? How far can you swim? Ask it this way. If you were in a fight to protect your family, how long could you last? So set a physical challenge for your life. Pursuing that makes your life bigger and better. And God loves the human body. Let God find pleasure in how you take care of this beautiful gift that He's given you.
Are you still listening? I thought we warned you to change to an easy listening station. Well, you asked for it. Here is more of the Bear Woznick adventure.
Aloha, welcome back to the Bear Woznick adventure. Our motorcycle TV show, can you believe that? We have a motorcycle TV show. And can you believe that Mother Angelica and the EWTN, that network, the beautiful, just God ordained EWTN network. We love Mother Angelica. When I was starting my show, she was still there, but she wasn't no longer at the studio. And I got to sit in her chair out in the green room one time. And I remember walking in and she had this, there's that beautiful portrait of her when you walk into the I think it's the entryway there. And she's looking at you like, I know something you don't know, and you're gonna get busy, you know. And I think that's the way the Lord is, right? But we did EWTN supported us in an effort to create this TV series, 33 episodes called Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick. You have to say the with Bear Woznick if you're searching for it on Prime Video. But EWTN re-airs the whole series from time to time. It's 33 episodes of us men riding our motorcycles across the United States. There's four different seasons. The fourth one was all filmed in Hawaii. So, Mama Bears out there, get on Prime Video, search for Long Ride Home with Bear, and get your young men to watch the show. It's really just a great show. And it's a little bit funny too. We always have a little bit of skit. I think at the first few episodes we were being chased by a bounty hunter. Our little skits were being chased by a bounty hunter, and the last one, we had the surfers, the old beach party movies back in the 60s was always the bikers fighting the surfers. So we had that kind of little skit going on all that whole time. But in the midst of all that, some really powerful things that just it was an immersive reality show. We didn't plan a lot, and the Holy Spirit just showed up in really cool ways. We're talking with Brad Rushmore. He's the ramrod for our school of manliness in the man cave. Hey, we're bringing something up new for the mama bears, huh?
Oh yeah, the scriptures, scribbles, and all that. Yeah,
It's been hard. We can't figure out how to do it. I finally sent you an email. We're going to get
yeah,
on the phone with our software people and figure out. It's just why is it so hard
yeah.
to put that
I
new
guess we're
page up?
not.
I
Yeah,
don't.
we're not computer type people.
Yeah. Well, we love our mama bears though.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah,
they're a big part of our ministry. I think their prayers are so powerful, but also they're the ones that bring the men to the ministry so often.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I see that especially in that Catholic church, the campus one. It's the women that are really volunteering there, lecturing and all that. They're the ones pushing the Catholic campus ministry. They're the
Really?
ones really pushing the faith there. Obviously, the men
Yeah.
there doing their good share, but I really respect the women there that are doing the hard work there at the campus ministry. So, yeah,
Yeah, and we need there should be an inspiration for us. I think women, when it comes to the Lord, they're like kindling. Their hearts are so ready to be set on fire. But a good woman, with her faith like that, men are more like oaks. They don't start on fire quickly. But if that woman is there, and just by her sincere walk with the Lord, not even trying, just her being who she is, and Jesus being such a big part of her life, and just God, the Holy Spirit being with her wherever she goes, the men then that big oak starts to burn. But once it starts to burn, it's going to put off some heat, and it's
yeah.
never gonna go out. What is going on the campuses these days as far as the young men and the young women? I know. As far as men saying, going out of their way to date a woman and sometime marry her. I know there's what's going on the campus these days as far as the men were holding back there for a long time, I think, or what's going on now.
Well, there's a they have a barn party, I suppose. I remember there's a dance, and it was pretty noticeable that the girls wanted to all dance, and but all the guys were on the sidelines, and they didn't want to like ask any of the girls to dance. It's just so goofy. They didn't. I guess they couldn't man up and go just talk to a girl.
Yeah, I know, dude. It takes courage, right,
It
to get
does,
out there
yeah,
and get rejected. But men need to man up. You know what the Bible even says.
yeah,
The angel said to Joseph, "Do not be afraid to take Mary to you as your wife." And I think
yeah,
that's the word to young men. Don't be afraid. Don't be
yeah,
afraid to ask her on a date, to ask her to dance, I mean, actually ask her on a date, not just talk with her at the um, theology on tap or whatever's going on, but ask her
yeah,
out.
yeah. Well,
Is
I
it
think riding bulls sometimes is less taxing on the mind than like trying to ask out a girl. more
Yeah.
anxiety with that, I suppose. I don't know.
We see it on the other side. We see when we show up someplace to talk, when Cindy's with me, the women will surround us and say, please tell the men we want them to be men. We want them to ask us out. Please ask them.
Yeah,
There's so many good women and the men, I think that time is going to swing the other way now. But I think that
sure.
the scripture verse for this generation that you're kind of just a little bit ahead of is do not be afraid to
Yeah.
take Mary to you as your wife. Ask the girl. I was at a college campus in Montana and I saw this guy and this girl. The girl would look at him, the guy would look at her, but they never, and I finally said, ask her out.
Yeah.
And so during the middle of me doing a book signing, he went and asked her out. And it was like he was just so stoked. But he had his eyes on her forever. We got to get the men need to start manning up and ask these girls out. And you know what? Get rejected. It's okay.
You have to, yeah. You're gonna get rejected. You're gonna fall off the bowl. You're gonna get hurt, but you have to. You have to.
Yeah, it's part of the transition from being a boy into a man is to start doing hard things and get out of the friend zone and ask her out. There's
Yeah.
there's men listening right now that know exactly what we're talking about, right? What would you say to them?
I think obviously you're gonna be nervous or whatnot, but it's a good feeling. It really makes you feel alive. It's like when I'm at the rodeo, I'm pretty nervous to get on a bull, especially if I got injured the last time, but it makes you feel alive. This is where I have to be in life. This is what God's giving me to do. It's a beautiful feeling to be nervous for something because it means you're growing. It means you're doing something out of your comfort zone and you're growing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's hard to find a lot of people go, oh, I'm going to try to find someone online, which is valid, or I'm going to go hang out at the local bar. But man, get involved with the faith. The
Yeah.
college and career group, get involved with your faith and uh, and just watch what God does. Now you're in a stage in your life now where you've been in the army. You were had a medical reason where you couldn't stay in the military, and now you're William and Mary, and you're in a real transition in your life, and you're really not sure what the next step is in your life. How do you deal with that?
Yeah. For I suppose most of my adult life doing the army and then fighting wildfires in Montana, um, and the rodeo too. I've had a pretty exciting life and now being in college, sitting in classes, it's very hard. Just
Yeah,
sitting down and listening to people talk is
it's an
that's
unmanly way to learn.
yeah,
Men
I
don't
can't.
learn that
Yeah.
way.
Oh, I
Sit down,
know.
shut up, listen to me, then regurgitate it on a test.
No, it's not, you're not hands-on. You're not learning from another man telling you, hey, this is how you do it, watching
Yeah.
him doing something. It's, yeah, it's hard, but where I'm gonna go after this, I don't know. And I think I need to find beauty in that. And I just gotta,
Hmm.
well, surrender to God's will is, it's probably the best thing to do.
And don't you think a lot of young men don't, I mean, like maybe they don't need to go to college? I mean, I mean, people might get mad at me for saying that, but we need young men to learn young men and women, but we need young men to learn the trades before those guys who know all that stuff aren't here anymore. You can make good money in the trades. And,
Yeah. Well,
it's,
I
it's,
saw,
mhm.
yeah, I saw that it's a statistic about elevator mechanics and like other trade skills. After 5 years, most of them are making 80 to $100,000 after 5 years. Somebody with an English degree will never make $100,000 on
Well,
average. I mean,
it's
there were outliers, but yeah.
because he's working at Starbucks after he
Yeah.
graduates.
Yeah. And I think college is important, but for people to go to like a university right off the bat is such a poor decision. Like you could go to community college, get 2 years done, or out of high school, just find what you want to do. Don't put
Hmm.
yourself in debt. Join the
Hmm.
army, do something
Join
like
the
that.
army.
Give you free
Well,
school.
exactly. So many men are joining the military and the Catholic Church. But we're just
Yeah,
saying there's different paths that we have uh,
yeah,
that are available to you. And uh, the thing about the trades is you learn by doing.
yeah,
And so much of college is just, like even Aristotle, when he taught, He walked around. He didn't just sit
Yeah.
there. They had walk and talks, you know.
Yeah.
They were physically, men like to move, they like to be engaged. They don't want to sit down and be passive. So it's difficult, you know, to be in college. I know. Now you can learn so much from not, you know, there's so much you can learn if you want to learn. You don't
Yeah.
have to. I'm not saying when I went to college, I went there to get a job. I
Yeah.
wanted to be a CPA. I would have loved to be a philosophy major, but then I would have been working at Starbucks, you know, or being a philosophy professor. So it's a tough, but I know God's going to lead you and guide you now. He's done a lot of preparing of who you are as a man, and great vistas are ahead of you. I'm excited that you're part of the man cave and lead the man cave, but there's something just surprising is going to come to you. And it kind of reminds me of Johnny Depp in the Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, where at the very end of one of the shows he says, "Now bring me that horizon." You've been battling it. You've been living life. You've been letting God grow you and humble you and chip off the rough edges, and you're so ready for what God has for you next. And it's almost like you can pursue it, or you can just it's almost like, Lord, bring it. Bring me that horizon, and just ask God to bring those to you. Because he said, God says, I know what I have in store for you, plans for peace, not destruction. If you seek me, I will let you find me. If you seek me with all your heart, I will let you find me. There is that part of you that as you abandon yourself to, and he says, I will plant new and right desires in your heart. I'll give you the desires of your heart. I'll plant them in there. Maybe they're just seeds right now and they're growing and you can't identify them, but I've planted them there. And not only have I given them to you in your heart, I'm going to give them to you. If you just water them and grow and become the person that God wants you to be. And this man, my wife is looking for a good woman for you, man. She just thinks you're the best. So this man right here, he's a dragon slayer. Brad Rushmore, thank you for joining us on our show.
Thank you. Thank you for Bear. Thank you, Bear, for having me. It's been
Yeah,
a pleasure.
we got to get you down to the Man Cave meetup in April.
I'll be
April
there.
20, April
I'll be
24th to
there.
the 26th. Until next week, may the breath of the Holy Spirit aloha you. Aloha.
Thanks for listening to the Bear Woznick Adventure. Find more manly conversation at the Bear Woznick Deep Adventure YouTube channel. Subscribe and ring the bell.